Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Drew from Iron and Lime Fitness. Welcome back to the gym. Today we have a pretty cool review. We're looking at the American Barbell 10-sided urethane dumbbells. So these sit in a very specific place in the market. They're not budget dumbbells, but they're also not your full Series 1 USA made flagship dumbbells, iron grip, hammer strength, the $15,000 to $20,000 dumbbell set. Think premium, commercial grade, but it's not going completely nuclear on your wallet. It's kind of just that comfortable in between where you get commercial gym capability with home gym accessibility. So full transparency right up front, because I think this matters. I got these on Facebook Marketplace used for $4,500 total. That included the dumbbells, which are 5 through 80, and then the Rogue Fitness Monster 3-tier dumbbell rack. That deal's the only reason I have them, because buying them new is a whole different conversation. I found a great deal, and I knew it was a can't pass it up kind of deal. It was 2 hours away, and I made it happen because I know the quality of the American Barbell 10-sided urethane dumbbells. Hex dumbbells, rubber hex dumbbells will absolutely make you just as strong. They may have a little smell to them and all that, and we'll cover all that. These are great, but just make sure they're within reasonable budget if you are going to go on them. All right, so let's do a price reality check. To just buy the American Barbells 5 through 75, right? Because you would have to buy two sets, so 5 through 50, 55 through 75. I bought a 5 through 80. I don't know if when the guy bought them from the website, if that was a set, but that's what I have. So just to buy the two sets of the 5 through 75, brand new, the retail is about $7,200. That's before shipping. I couldn't get shipping to work on the website. I don't know if that was a me issue or my wife somehow got in there and made sure I couldn't buy any other dumbbells. Either way, I would assume it's going to be between $500 and $1,000 to get them shipped because I believe it's freight. They come in a box from everything I've seen. They're nicely separated, all that. So let's just bake in probably $8,000 total, right? And that is not even including the rack. That's just getting 5 through 75 to your doorstep or your driveway if it's freight, depending on your driver. That is astronomical. And that's probably not something that every home gym is going to want to invest in. I can't say that I wouldn't invest if I had the money because they are quite amazing and they've done well for me. But just to be crystal clear, there is definitely a significant price bump between what you're going to be buying rubber hex dumbbells for and premium urethane 10-sided dumbbells for. All right, so just to be crystal clear, these are not budget dumbbells. Nobody in their right mind is buying these to save money, right? If you want to do budget, rubber hex dumbbells are still going to be the best thing for you. They're ugly, they might smell, they're kind of clunky, they might end up cracking down the road, who knows, or they might be great, and weight is weight. All of them are equally droppable. However, these exist for a kind of different buyer, a mid-tier, I think, versus the entry-level tier of the rubber hexes, and definitely not the iron grip, hammer strength, Series 1 American Barbell buyer as well. So these are kind of the nice in-between, commercial, but can be fit in a home gym kind of feel. All right, let's talk build quality and specs. Build quality is where these things separate themselves immediately. You can just feel it. The heads use premium German urethane, and that means there's not going to be that kind of rubber stench, if you will, which everybody that's opened new bumper plates and new dumbbells knows exactly what I'm talking about. There's not going to be the dry rot piece, right? The urethane is high quality. No cracking over time. And if your garage is in Georgia, where it's super humid, or in a basement, this is a big deal. It's a real upgrade, right? Or even if it's really cold. So internally, these use a steel core, not cast iron, which again is one of those more premium things. And they're more compact and better balanced than kind of a lot of cheap dumbbells that I've felt. So when you feel them, you really do, it feels like you're picking up a solid, high quality dumbbell. Tensile strength is 90,000 PSI, so that's commercial grade durability. Just like the Ohio bar stuff, it's not going to bend. And it's absolutely, it's amazing. From the 5s to the 80s, it just feels high quality. The handles are hard chrome plated, so it's good knurl. It's medium. It's passive. I would compare it probably to a Cera coated Ohio barbell. And it's a little bit passive, but it's okay. It's intentional. It's grippy enough to train hard. It's not going to tear your hands up, which is nice. You can kind of grab it at all angles. My kids will grab the 5s and 10s, and they're just fine. The handles do vary in diameter with the weight. So when we have 5 through 35, we're at 32 millimeters, which is nice and grippy. 40 to 100 is 35 millimeters. And then once you get 105 above, it's 38 millimeters. So those kind of details you don't typically see on the budget sets, but they are built kind of for that high-end client, if you will. Commercial, could be used in schools for programs, all that stuff. So definitely one of the best feeling grips that I've seen. And then they also are equally nice to kind of move around and grab and everything like that. So highly, highly recommend. I can't say enough good things about the feel and the usability of them. All right, so let's talk about the 10-sided design. The 10-sided shape actually makes a lot of sense. They don't roll away easily on uneven floors. It is a safety plus. However, I will say versus the 6-sided hex, they do roll easier than that. So just be aware of that. Doing some things where you're doing push-ups on them, renegade rows or whatever, if you're on your hands, just be aware they can roll a little more than the 6 side. Nothing too crazy, but it does happen. The edges are radiused, so resting them on your thighs, it doesn't necessarily feel sharp at all. It's pretty comfortable. And then because of the steel core, they're smaller than the rubber hex dumbbells and they're thinner, right? So at the same weight, you're lifting heavier and it's thinner. It's easier to manage, more comfortable when you're doing goblet squats with it. You can kind of have your whole hands on it. Truly, there's really not a lot of things that I don't love about these dumbbells. All right, let's talk about the space and storage reality. So here's something that people don't always understand. Fixed dumbbells take up a ton of space. Here, this Monster 3 tier takes up 90 inches, 94, 95 inches maybe. That's substantial. My footprint here is 18 feet long and it takes up a comfortable half of it. So if you're planning on doing a full 5 through 85 through 100 set, you need to plan for the footprint. Not just the dumbbells, but the rack, the walkways, how you're going to move around them, how you're going to grab them. For context, I'm using a Monster 3-tier rack from Rogue. And I'll be honest, I don't necessarily recommend it. There's things I don't love. I'm going to do a review on it. It works, but it's not ideal, right? So dumbbell storage is huge. And when you're going to make an investment such as dumbbells, a full set of dumbbells, if they don't come with a rack, that rack choice will substantially influence your quality of life and usability of the dumbbells. One of the big things here with the Monster 3 tier, which I don't want to get too far into it because I'm going to do its own review, is the bottom row, it's not tiered in the sense of a waterfall. So when your dumbbells aren't waterfall, you have to basically reach all the way in to get the heavy ones. And when you're reaching down, grabbing an 80-pounder or whatnot, substantial, right? It makes a difference when you don't have a tiered dumbbell rack. And by that, I mean the water filled tiers. There's obviously 3 shelves, but I'll get into that in the review. I'll also talk about what I'm potentially going to replace them with. If my wife ever gives me a budget again, I'm not sure I will be able to buy anything for a while. However, if I do, the plan is to go with the Irwin Fitness Citadel 4 stack because it does actually waterfall up. Still has the 3x3 1-inch holes that I can potentially use for storage of my surplus strength spotter arms. So all in all, absolutely have to consider footprint, impact, and the rack that you're going to place them on, not just for storage and space, but also for usability and enjoyability. All right, so when we talk about performance and versatility, bench, rows, curls, lunges, overhead presses, lawnmowers, anything you can think of, I've used these and they feel exactly how commercial premium dumbbells should. They're balanced, they're predictable, they're thin. I haven't had any issues whatsoever with the usability and the feel. The chrome can be a little slick, right, when it comes to the knurl. So wiping your hands on very heavy pulls. I've never used straps with these because I only have 80 pounds and I can grip that just fine. But I think the handles being straight handles is a benefit, but I do know the contoured handles of like an iron grip sometimes can be nice to have. And I'm coming from adjustable dumbbells, so that's the biggest difference here. Is I had a very nice set of PowerBlock Elite USA 70s that I was using for a couple years. These add so much versatility as compared to that. Supersets, drop sets are smoother. It's a lot easier to go back and forth between them. You don't have to slide the thing out, slide it in. The PowerBlocks were fantastic for what they were. I didn't have any complaints about them. However, there is no comparison in the sense of you save a lot of space with adjustable dumbbells. And if you are going to go with some, I recommend you get a good quality set that you can rely on. But there is no comparison to having a full set of dumbbells. So it's not a knock on adjustable dumbbells. It's just a trade-off, right? Here you're taking up a lot more space. There you're dealing with the other bars that go through, that your hands go through when you use the PowerBlocks, and you're also dealing with having to stop and change things out. When here you can have 3 or 4 sets set up if you're doing drop sets or anything like that, or you can have multiple people working out at the same time. And the only thing you're really limited by is space, right? So just keep that in mind. All right, let's talk about pros and cons. So the pros, the urethane has no smell. It's got a premium look and feel. It's kind of like a textured, smooth surface. It's very comfortable when you're holding it. It's comfortable when you rest on your thighs. They're very compact for the weight. I would compare them to competition bumper plates and urethane bumper plates for how much thinner they can get. They just feel really, really premium every time you look at them. For cons, brutal pricing. They're expensive, absolutely expensive. If you can find them used, fantastic. If you're gonna buy them new, hats off to you. Let me know where you park your Ferrari. They take up some serious space though, and chrome needs a little bit of care. Just scrub it down with oil like you would with a barbell. And then the storage solution is huge. One complaint I have with my set particularly, which is probably not a common thing, is my 50s are flipped. So if you look, one of my 50s has the 50 on the same side, and then the other one of the 50's flipped. So at first I was like, I put them back one time and it was upside down, and I was like, well, I looked at the handles before I put them back, and turns out one of them was flipped. So absolutely hasn't affected functionality. If my wife lifts in here, she doesn't put the numbers down the same way anyway. They're all, all over the place, so I'm kind of used to that. But either way, that's just the one thing I found from a missed QC standpoint. However, that dumbbell still functions just as well as every other one, and I haven't had any issues. So just that for the cons. All right, final verdict. Here's the cleanest way to think about this. No way, shape, or form are these budget dumbbells. If you want budget, go get rubber hexes and find a nice used deal or one of those warehouses or whatever. Weight is weight. Those will still get the job done. If you want a special set of commercial grade dumbbells with home accessibility and you're not ready or willing to go Series 1 iron grip hammer strength because you just don't want to spend $15,000 to $20,000, and I don't blame you, the American Barbell 10-sided urethane dumbbells are one of the best choices you can make. They give you that premium material, premium balance, thin, no rubber stink, long-term urethane durability, without completely losing your mind, keeping it 8K and under. A little more if you want to go higher. That said, at full retail, they're still a very tough sell for most home gyms. I own them because I found a rare deal. $4,500 for the dumbbells and the rack made a lot of sense. Nearly $8,000 new for just the dumbbells does not make a lot of sense for most home gym owners. And so if space or your budget is tight, find a good set of rubber hexes or adjustable PowerBlocks. I recommend. I haven't really used any other adjustable dumbbells that I would recommend, especially the ones with moving pieces. But I've got links below if you want to check these out. I'm also going to do a rack review. Once again, everything in this video I purchased myself. I don't have any affiliates for American Barbell or Rogue, so I'm just telling you what I think. And once again, I would definitely recommend these for the right buyer in the right space. But I also think it should be made clear that they may not be for everyone. and that's completely fine. So with that being said, this is Drew from Iron and Line Fitness. I appreciate everyone who has liked and subscribed and commented on my videos, and I enjoy doing this for everybody. And I'm also going to be dropping a blog article with a little bit more close-up pictures and a little bit more detail as well with this video. So please stay tuned. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to review, and I look forward to doing that for you all. Thank you.